Hey guys, it's Danny. Today we're going to talk about a subject many of you have requested me to talk about throughout the years, and I kind of never did. I don't know why. So today, here we are. I'm going to tell you how I am able to keep all sorts of different orchids in the same room, growing pretty much in the same environment and thriving. But before everything, I will give you the short answer. I choose them that way. From the multitude of orchids available for purchase out there, I choose the ones that I know I can do good with, and that's pretty much 90% of the work. Besides that, there are a few other things that maybe you're not aware of as a beginner. So first of all, don't forget to like this video. If you end up enjoying it, it really helps it out. Why not subscribe? It is free and I post multiple times a week. But if you're feeling extra about it, consider further supporting the channel by using the affiliate links down below, checking out the merch, becoming a member, or using the super thanks option below my videos. Right in. So, where shall I start? I always have issues finding the beginning. One thing you should be very aware of. All of these very popular orchids like Phalaenopsis, Vandas, Oncidiums, Cattleyas, Dendrobiums, they are all very popular, not necessarily because they're beautiful, although they are, but mostly because they are very tolerant of home conditions. In an alternate world, can you imagine a Dracula being the most popular orchid? If most of our homes would be on the very foggy, cool, and humid side, I think things like Draculas and Masdevallias and other species of orchids, they would be the most popular ones because they're also very beautiful, and when it comes to Miltoniopsis, they're also very fragrant. But no, most of our homes rather gravitate towards the warm side, the not so humid side, simply because it fits us. We like to be warm, we don't like to really be very humid and have all sorts of molds on the walls. You get what I'm saying. So first and foremost, these orchids that are very popular are here because they can live with us and they can thrive in the same conditions as us. That's not to say that we won't do a few alterations and change a little bit things around for their benefit as well. But the core or the basic care needs are already given. They can live in our home. Period. And that is the number one rule that I go for when choosing my orchid. Is this orchid capable of living in homes? Because if it is, there are greater chances of more people watching my videos when I'm talking about it, because more people will want to know information about it since it is popular. And even if they don't know that particular orchid, they will have a chance to grow it in their home without a whole lot of trouble, now that they know it exists, maybe from my videos. So my main focus always is to try and find the orchids that are easily growable. My English this morning. They're easy to take care of in normal homes. So 100% of the orchids in my collection can be kept pretty easy in a home, not only from the point of view of temperature, humidity, and things of the sorts, but also their tolerance to being potted, which is the easiest setup for any home grower. Yes, from here we can go to mounted orchids or maybe have some sort of more elaborate setups. That's besides the point. If I'm going to do statistics, I will say that 90% of the people who watch my videos, not subscribe, but watch my videos, they're home growers and prefer a setup like this, which looks nice according to our aesthetic and is easy to maintain. And wouldn't you know it, the orchids which fit the bill just right are all of these things we keep talking about in our videos. Phalaenopsis, Cattleyas, even Vandas. I'm stretching it a bit here, but hey, it's possible, right? Dendrobiums, did I say Oncidiums? All of these things that you can typically find in flower shops in a way or another. Some areas will have more types of orchids in flower shops, others not so many. It is what it is. But basically, not only do these guys tolerate lower humidity, maybe higher temperatures, but also they tolerate and adapt to this type of setup. Now, even if we as growers use different types of setups, the reality of things is that all of these potting mixes and pots, and I like to call them setups because there are a multitude of things. All of these things, guess what? They actually give the same effects. And somebody's very fragrant here. Oh, it's the Vanda Peaches. She smells very nice. She just started. It's really early morning, by the way. So, as you can see, I have different setups with my orchids. It is full sphagnum moss in this pot with a top layer of bark. As you can see, there are no ventilation holes or slits, there is only drainage. But behold, this Vanda is potted in a bark and moss mixture in a transparent pot with a lot of ventilation holes and also some drainage. Even if there are two different setups, they can actually give the orchid the very same conditions. One is rather suited for dry, hot environments such as mine. This is why I switched to this setup more recently, and the other one caters a little bit more in a intermediate, let's say, environment with maybe lower temperatures throughout the year, maybe a little bit higher humidity, not a whole lot. Both of these are very suitable for homes, but one is catering a little more to a hot home or very dry home. The other one, more of a balanced home, let's say. And there are other setups which imply other types of materials, maybe other pots. In the end, what they all do is give a correct air to moisture ratio, and also they are not damaging to the roots. That is it. They're different, but they don't really do different things. They just behave differently in different environments. This is a little bit of a tangent, but it is important because it is part of the reason of why it is so possible to grow different orchids in the same home. Even though these orchids are very tolerant and very similar in their requirements, some of them do require a little bit more. For example, here I have a Selagine usitana. This is not necessarily a super popular orchid, but it is a very easy one to grow, and definitely it likes home conditions. It can thrive, not just survive. It can thrive in home conditions. But it is a much thirstier orchid than a Vendacious orchid is. It actually loses water through its leaves much quicker than something like a Vanda or a Cattleya, which is much more adapted to hold on to that moisture. It is more drought tolerant, simply because it comes from different areas of the world. But that is the only difference between them. Temperature-wise, they accept the same things. Humidity-wise, again, they can tolerate the exact same things. The only difference is this need of more water. This one dries faster, becomes dehydrated faster, and cannot handle long periods of time without water, such as a Vanda. So in this instance, what I can do to level the field, I didn't do it yet, I will, is to pot this orchid in sphagnum moss, full sphagnum moss, while I can leave the Vanda in this setup. And in this way, I am just leveling the field. And I make these two orchids benefit from the same things, but using different techniques. So trying to adapt a little bit the style of growth, and sometimes not even that. Sometimes the availability to water to orchids can allow you to grow different types of orchids in the same environment. Now, see, I don't like to work with my availability because I don't have time. So what I like to do is kind of use slightly different setups for slightly different orchids if it is required. Now, in the past, I think I also talked about positioning orchids in different areas of your grow room to benefit from different stuff. For example, we can play a little with temperature to some extent. And hot growers typically, if you put them on an upper shelf, they will benefit from more warmth than if you put them on a lower shelf, because heat rises and cool air stays at the bottom. If I am indeed working with an orchid that likes its cool temperatures, I will gravitate towards the lower shelves. I'm not gonna put it right on top because that's where the heat is. But I don't tend to choose the orchids that I know will suffer through my summers. And I think Joey wants to give us all a concert this morning. Anyway, though, as a side note, you can actually play with the placement of the orchids. If you have more light in a corner, you can put the Cattleyas, the Vandas, and other orchids which like more light, and keep the more shady locations for stuff such as Phalaenopsis, Paphiopedilums, and other things that don't require as much light. You'll always have slightly different little worlds in your grow room. Some will have less light, some might be warmer, some might be in the path of a little bit of a draft, which, by the way, it's fine with orchids. As long as the temperature is constant and it's not a cold draft, you're good. So you might discover that some orchids prefer upper shelves because it's warmer there. Other orchids will prefer a place near to the window if you don't want to use grow lights, and so on and so forth. So you can adjust a little bit these things in the very same room, because the room is not equal and the same everywhere pretty much. So you can use different orchids in these various locations. Another very good technique is to always research your orchids. It's absolutely fine if you really like an orchid and you want to try it out, but for the main part, if you want to be sure that an orchid can handle your conditions, just research it a little bit. See what you can find on Google, see what other people say about it, their experience, and so on and so forth before deciding to purchase it. Because at nurseries especially, you can find other types of orchids which might not be suited for your home. In the flower shop, it's a different story. For the main part, flower shops do carry stuff that we can easily grow, but hey, a Google search never hurt anyone. So it is important to know a thing or two about the orchid you have or you want to have. Other than that, really, it's just about how you manage to control the setups. And depending on the type of setup, you can control the quantity of water, the frequency of watering, the materials you're gonna use in your setup, and combine that with the position of the orchid, with what you can offer for what orchid in that room, and hey poof, you can actually grow a multitude of orchids in the same room if you choose them correctly. Now, there are some orchids which I personally cannot grow, and I'm trying and trying, but no, it's not happening. And for those of you who know me, the Nelly Eiler, which maybe it's one of my favorite orchids because I can't grow it, or because it's beautiful, yeah, that one, I just can't. I did purchase a Nelly Eiler when, like last year. I already lost it. When summer comes around, it's gone. That's because it's an orchid that really does not like the prolonged heat in my environment, which affects my grow room. I keep trying, but it's not happening. Things like Masdevallias, Draculas, again, are quite a struggle for me in home conditions. And I'm sure there are others. So I try to really stay away from those. If I ever want to experiment, I get an experiment, and that's about it. I'm not gonna purchase 10 of them because I know it's not gonna happen. I'm sure there are other environments which do great with these orchids. The environment's very different than mine, but see, you don't know if you don't research what type of orchids might like higher humidity or lower humidity, depending what you have in your environment. Natural light, artificial light, high temperatures, low temperatures, and so on and so forth. As for my channel, everything that I grow here, or 99.9%, because I have two Miltoniopsis that are still alive, so 99.999% of what I grow here can easily be grown in any home with maybe minor alterations. I specifically keep my channel and my grow room very friendly to home growers. Oh, the birds are out. Yeah, so I keep this channel friendly to home growers. Maybe in the future I will elevate it to other things as well. But I do really want to keep this home growing aspect because it is what I like. These are the orchids that don't stress me way too much, and I don't have to invest a lot of money in more elaborate ways to keep them happy. So I stay away from them for now. We'll see what the future holds, but that is the key of growing multiple orchids. Just research them, get the ones that are very tolerant, and enjoy them because there are so many of them. And throughout this video, I'm going to try to show you some of the most beautiful orchids that I have and that I love. I don't need to have them all to be happy, and you don't need to have all the varieties to be happy. Just start off with the ones that you can grow and try to envision all of these orchids as circles. There is a place where all of these circles meet. Your grow room should be that place. You should strive to have the conditions that make all of these orchids happy, because there is such a place if you choose your orchids properly. And that is about it. That has been the discussion about growing orchids in the very same room. As you can see, I don't go overboard to switching up things in the winter versus the summer. That's another headache. They are tolerant. Yes, in the winter it might not be so bright. No one cares. They will tolerate. They'll get over it, you know? I'm not gonna go overboard with these things, and hey, guess what? They're still thriving. Righty, so tell me in the comment section if you do something different to accommodate for different orchids, and what are your ideas. And with that said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed today's discussion. Feel free to check out my second channel for other types of plants, including aquatic plants, but most importantly, subscribe to this channel for all the good orchid stuff. So that's it. I'll see you next time. Bye.